John Oates, we are so excited to have the chance to talk to you today. We're really, really looking forward to your performance at the 2024 CGI Rochester International Jazz Fest.
We are, and I want to go back in time to the early days of your career, wondering first, is this how you imagined your career playing out? Is this the dream that you had as a kid? And then secondly, what advice would you give to your younger self about that dream?
That is a huge question, but yes, I'll try to unpack that. You know, I was a musician from the time I was a baby, literally. I have a recording of me singing a children's song at 4 years old, and then again at 7 or 8 singing an Elvis Presley song. So I've identified myself as a musician my whole life. It's the only job I've ever had. So I don't think my career path was ever in question. I just did what I did. I like to joke that as long as people didn't boo me off the stage, I just kept going. But that's, you know, it's really been, you know, I see my life as a kind of a parallels the evolution of rock and roll, because, you know, I'm old enough to actually remember music prior to rock and roll in the early 1950s. So when it hit, I was very aware of it. And even as a little kid, I thought, oh, something new had happened. And so really, as rock and roll has evolved, so is my career. So like I said, I never really questioned it in any other way.
And if you had to go back and give yourself a piece of advice about how your career would go, what would you say to, I don't even know, 15-year-old John, 20-year-old John?
Musically, I wouldn't change very much, but I would say that I would have made myself more aware of the business side of music, and not be, you know, not just to run around the world being a rock star with my head in the clouds and not paying attention to some of the things that were going on in the background.
I want to talk, if we can, about some of your solo work, because you've been able to explore a lot of landscape with that. How have you become more creatively liberated as a solo artist?
Well, you know, I think a lot of people, you know, because of my, you know, the popularity of Hall & Oates and especially the 80s with all the huge hits and the MTV videos that they're so ingrained in people's minds. I don't think people realize that I've been recording and working as a solo artist for over 20 years. I have 8 albums. This current one, Reunion, would be the latest. So it's been something that that I've really been very passionate about. However, it was something that I always had to kind of compromise about in terms of my time, with my commitment to Hall & Oates, being on tour, various other commitments, and then kind of squeezing in my solo work in between. Now that I'm no longer working with Daryl, I'm fully committed, and I think this album it shows it. It's really my most coherent musical statement. It really and you know the old cliche about one door closing, other doors opening. Well, in my case, it seems like when one door is closed, about 100 doors have opened. These incredible opportunities are coming my way, both personally and professionally, and I can't wait to take advantage of them. And at this point in my life, you know, there's no more time for rehearsals for me. It's all about making it happen now.
You have hundreds and hundreds of songs, and they cover a wide range of topics. Where do you, as a songwriter, get your inspiration from?
Songwriters, I think what sets songwriters apart from, you know, other people is that songwriters' antenna always seem to be up, you know, aware of their surroundings, aware of what's going on, what people are saying, emotional feelings that can be translated into music. That's really what songwriters do. And it's an incredible thing when you really think about it, because as a songwriter, you're creating something from nothing, you know, without sounding too hippy-dippy. It's kind of magical in a way. And, you know, I think when you can write something or tap into an emotion or something that other people will hear and say, wow, that's exactly how I feel, that speaking for me, if I could have said it musically, I would have done that. That's when you have the most success.
Is it that emotion, that authenticity for you that you think helps make you appeal to a wide variety of people and to younger and younger audiences every time you release something new?
Yeah, I think it's the quality of and the craftsmanship and the enduring nature of the songwriting style. Even back in the earliest days when I was working with Daryl Hall, when we started playing live, we were always surprised how we would have very young kids in the audience and older people. Even when I was in my 20s, we had people in their 40s. I thought, what are all these old people doing at our show? It was weird, but as time has gone on, that's always been the case. And here again, I have to chalk that up to the songs themselves. They somehow communicate through the generations, and they resonate with people in some sort of universal way. There's no way to really put your finger on what that is and how it happens. It's just it's luck and skill, and who knows.
We're all really excited to see you at the 2024 CGI Rochester International Jazz Festival. Let's talk about some of your performances. Tell us your favorite. If you had to go back and think about all of them, give us a good memory, a performance that really stuck out for you.
Oh, wow, there's so many, I mean, as the years have gone on, playing the classic, famous venues of the world, the Madison Square Gardens, playing the Budokan in Tokyo, Japan, playing the Hollywood Bowl, the Ryman Auditorium in Nashville, one of my favorite venues in the whole world. So the list goes on and on, but I will say that literally last week I had a bucket list moment where I played the Royal Albert Hall, and it was a total fluke and kind of a it just happened by accident. I was asked by Richard Marx if I would play with him at the Royal Albert Hall, and I didn't even know Richard Marx, and I happened to be in London, and it was a spur of the moment, spontaneous thing, and I walked out there with an acoustic guitar in front of a sold out Royal Albert Hall, and I was like, oh, this is amazing. And so it just happened really by accident last week. So each one of these things is just an important moment. Well, playing the Rochester Jazz Festival is certainly something that I want to do, because it's an event that is based around music and listening. It's not just a giant festival where there's all sorts of side shows going on. This is a focused event, and what I'm doing is a very focused show. It's called An Evening of Songs and Stories. I have this incredible acoustic quartet with a cello, a percussionist, a pedal steel, and I play acoustic guitar. And so it's a really musical, authentic, organic kind of performance. There's no artifice involved. There's no tracks. There's no computers or amplifiers or anything like that. So it's a really pure musical performance, and that's what I love.
When you're on stage performing, how much of a role does the audience play in what is happening on the stage? Do you kind of feed off of the vibe that the audience is giving out?
Absolutely. I mean, when you have a great audience and they're with you, it just elevates the whole performance to another level. By the same token, sometimes you have to keep control of the situation. Being a professional and being on tour for over 50 years, I have a lot of songs. People will yell out old songs, and sometimes you entertain the requests, and sometimes you have to ignore them. So it's really it's kind of a juggling act.
You have a lot of ventures musically, but you also have lots of ventures outside of music. I believe you're a car collector, or you love race cars, correct?
That's true. I'm not racing anymore. I'm past that, but I do love vintage cars, especially sports cars. And over the years, I've really had to enjoy the people and the whole process of restoration and that sort of thing. So a car that I've just restored is now at the Peterson Museum in Los Angeles, which is probably the best auto museum in the world. So yeah, it's fun, and I met some great people along the way.
How much of that outside life that you live influences your music?
Well, I get a lot of great ideas when I'm driving on a country road. I very seldom listen to the radio. I've listened to the engine and let my thoughts wander, and it's amazing. It's kind of like probably people might not relate to it, but for me, it's kind of a therapy. I get out there with no distractions. I focus on what I'm doing. I love to be in the country on a beautiful country road in an amazing car and have that experience. And all of a sudden, ideas start popping into my head.
Do you pull over and then write them down, or do you just kind of store them away in your memory bank?
I do because I don't want to crash, so I don't want to pull my iPhone out trying to shift a manual transmission and record an idea. So yes, I have pulled over, and I do the same thing when I'm riding my bike. I'm a cyclist as well, so I'll be cycling, and all of a sudden the oxygen gets in my brain, and all of a sudden I get an idea, and yes, I have to pull over.
For young artists, you know, who look up to musicians like yourself, do you have pocket advice that you pull out that you typically give to them? What is your advice for a young artist who may be watching this morning and saying to themselves, I've always looked up to him, I wonder what he would think about?
Well, I've given this advice many times, and I think it's the old classic tried and true method. Listen to the people you like. Listen to the people you admire, and try to unpack and understand what it is that they do. And the best way to do that is to actually learn their songs and learn their songs, especially when you're a beginner. And all of a sudden, that's a key. It's like opening up a key to their musical sensibility, how they think, how they put chords together, how they put melodies together, lyrics, whatever it might be. And once you do that, if you have if you have any skill to be an original, that can evolve into your own original musical statement. And then, you know, and I'm quoting from the great Mickey Rooney because I just read his biography. His advice to beginning actors was get a good lawyer.
That is good advice.
Good advice.
We don't want to take up much more of your time. We just have a couple of rapid-fire questions we want to throw your way. Give us whatever answer first pops into your head. Abby and I will bounce back and forth here. The first one is, who has been, here we go, John Oates, who has been your biggest musical influence?
Ooh, my guitar teacher, Jerry Ricks.
All right, very good.
That poster right over my head.
Oh, okay.
Look at that.
Love it.
That's so cool. A little tribute to him. What was the first album you ever purchased?
Well, the first single I ever purchased was Wake Up Little Susie by the Everly Brothers.
Wake up, little Susie, wake up. We like that one. What is your favorite song to perform live?
Right now, it's Reunion, the title track from the new album.
Fantastic. Use one word to describe your music.
Real.
Other than get a lawyer, what is your best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Be true to yourself.
Very good. And if you could partner up with any artist, living or dead, who would you choose?
Wow. Boy, that's a tough one. Curtis Mayfield.
Good answers. John Oates, it has been an absolute pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for giving us some of your time. We truly appreciate it. And we look forward to welcoming you back to Rochester.
Thanks. Can't wait. It's going to be a great show. I'm really looking forward to it. Thank you.
Excellent. Thanks so much. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.